Let's call this meeting to order.
Alderman McHenry.
Here.
Alderman Luckett.
Here.
Alderman Sarter.
Here.
Alderman Steverson.
Here.
Alderman Foy.
Here.
Alderman Thompson.
Here.
Alderman Gill.
Present.
Alderman Luckett, will you pray for us this evening?
Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful day that you have given us. And Lord, we ask you to be with everybody in the United States. Lord, let them take this COVID virus seriously, Lord. Help us where we failed you. Forgive us of our sins in Jesus' name.
Alderman Sarter, will you lead us in the pledge, sir? Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a good amount of acknowledgements this evening, so y'all bear with us, but we want to make much of several people. The first person that I wanted to call up tonight, I'm not sure if y'all know this or not, but right back here we have Pearl Boxing Organization. And we have the coach here tonight, and we recently have a champion among us. And Coach, I'm going to let you come up here and bring Chop Sims up here and talk a little bit about what he did to represent the city of Pearl and just what type of boxer he is. Could you come up and tell him to come up too? We got a belt that we need to bring up and show. I'm good, Coach Bob Bailey. You can speak into this right here.
All right, how y'all doing today, man? Everybody all right? Well, this guy right here is Chop Sims. He's the first boxer to win a championship, a professional championship in 40 years in the state of Mississippi. And you know, that's a great accomplishment coming from a little small club like Pearl Boxing Club. You know, I know y'all see the little kids running around. I brought in the other two little kids, let them know what they could accomplish. You know, that he could do it, they could accomplish too. So, you know, we're proud of Chop, and he did it for, you know, the state of Mississippi. And he been staying in Pearl quite a while. And he changed his life around through the Pearl Boxing Club. So I'm letting y'all know the organization that y'all upheld, the Pearl Boxing Club, is doing great jobs. And Jake, he don't know he part of the thing. Earlier this year, we couldn't afford a mat. I think the mat was like $1,000, and we had to trip it over the mat, had tape on the mats, and Jake got his money. He helped us get the mat, man. I appreciate Mayor Jake for getting that. He part of this championship too, and all y'all part of this championship at Pearl, man. We proud of our boxing club at Pearl, and everywhere we go, we represent Pearl and what we stand for. And I'm gonna introduce Chop Sims.
Chop, come over here and say a few things.
Well, as you know, usually, as a fighter, I do my talking with my hands, but of course, I've got to, do another way today. First and foremost, I got to thank God for this opportunity and for succeeding, and secondly, my coaches and the city of Pearl. This has been a long, very long, hard road that we have traveled to get to this point. And I want to let all the young kids know that, no matter where you're from and no matter what you go through in your life, that you're never a product of your circumstances and you can make it out. As you know, this little city of Pearl, won a championship, state championship, 2 years ago. So I'm just honored and very grateful to be able to be on the same pedestal as them. Thank you.
And look, what's so crazy about this, and I've been telling, but Chop was, I may say, but he was homeless for a minute, 18, and he came to the boxing club, and he done changed his whole life around, coming to the gym every day. So he ain't tell you he been humble, but his only 18, stayed in Pearl, and he came up and came to the boxing gym and changed his life for it. And that's the kind of stuff, that's a proud story, a story I'm proud of. So man, we're looking for him to do great things and still represent Pearl.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sir.
Thank you.
Next person that we'd like to acknowledge tonight is Officer Wilkes Carter. Chief Scott, could you bring Officer Wilkes Carter in here? Come on up here, Wilkes. How you doing, man? Look, side note to what I'm gonna talk about tonight, Jerry Barrett knows, he's been a police officer, Mark Ellsworth does too. I'm gonna read about an incident that happened a couple weeks ago, but just this past weekend, Wilkes was getting out on the interstate to work a wreck, and a box truck came by and took his door off of his patrol car. He was about to step out of the vehicle. So anyway, I was just glad you're still here, man. I heard about it. Jay Bishop called me, said he saw it happen, and we were concerned. I'm glad you're okay. I'll let some more folks get in from the police department. On May 16th, 2020, the Pearl Police Department received a call from an elderly female at the Pearlwood Apartments. The female stated that someone was inside her home with a knife. The female stated that she also had her 2 small grandchildren inside the home with her. Officer Wilkes Carter was the first officer to arrive. Officer Carter immediately began to gain entry to the residence. While in the residence, he was able to breach the door and make entry. As he entered the residence, upon entry to the residence, Officer Carter quickly assessed the injured female and children, asking them where the intruder was located in the residence. Officer Carter was able to get the victims out of the residence safely while securing the residence so the intruder could not flee. During this time, Officer Carter was able to determine that the intruder was hiding in the attic of the apartment. He then located the attic hatch and started to enter the attic. Other officers arrived on scene. Officer Carter, Lemus, and Investigator Frederick were able to enter the attic and locate the suspect. The suspect was placed in custody without any further harm or injuries to the victim or responding officers. Due to the quick thinking and heroic action of Officer Wilkes Carter, he was able to get inside the residence to prevent further harm to residents. All 3 officers that entered the attic exhibited courage and bravery in uncertain circumstances. The officers did not know where the male was located in the attic and if he was still armed as they entered the area. The victims were all transported to the local hospitals and are recovering from mental and physical injuries they sustained from this incident. Look, I think everybody in the room is fully aware of this and the courage that this man presented that day as he entered into the house, and that's what makes him the police officer he is. I've said this many times when we talk about going and fighting evil. You don't have a choice when you put the badge on. You go anyway. And he did that day and showed an enormous amount of courage. And tonight, due to that, if you had not been in there, Wilkes, if you had not used the instinctive measures that you did as a police officer to go ahead and get through that door, get those children to safely, we don't know what could happen. So with that being said, tonight, we're going to present you with a life-saving award awarded to Wilkes Carter. I got additional information. I just want to say for outstanding performance and heroic action on May 16th, 2020. Could you please put your hands together for this officer? Due to the fact that you were awarded the life-saving award tonight, I have this pen that we're going to present to you. Let's go up here. Just going to get you to stay up here because we got some more Padres coming up here with you. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. Chief Scott, I'm gonna let you come up here. Provide additional information on some of this, regarding this incident. There was a whole host of team that put together a plan that day. They all acted in unison, and they acted quickly and swiftly to make sure that, things were taken care of. And, at this point, I'll just let you talk about your people and, these additional awards that we want to give out tonight, okay? Yes, sir.
Thank y'all for being here. This is a humbling experience for me. Excuse me. You know, I'm the chief of the police department, but, you know, I'm not their boss. I gladly work with them. And they make the city look good. What you see is just a fraction of what these other men and women that work for this department tonight and the job they do. What we're fixing to present, first and foremost, is the Officers of the Month. It's an unusual night because tonight we usually have one, but we have three. Along with Officer Carter, I would ask that Officer Lemus and Investigator Fredericks come up. Y'all stand here. I think y'all heard the mayor say, Officer Carter was the first one to the house. I'm not going to talk about the incident, and I'm not going to talk about the suspect because I think he don't deserve any recognition of any kind. But these three gentlemen, in this world, I think we all admit it's troubled times right now. Everybody's questioning what's right and what's wrong. But unfortunately, you know, as the job we do and what we're faced with, we're the sheepdogs. You got the sheep are the good, the wolves are the bad. This is what stands between them. And that's the best way, I think that's the most purest way I think it's ever been described for what we do. These gentlemen here, as the mayor said, once Officer Carter entered the residence and saw what was probably more than troubling, Officer Fredericks, which was working, he works in a flex unit, he kind of, as you see, more on a undercover type basis. Officer Lemus works patrol. All these gentlemen do an excellent job. They went into an attic, unknown to what they were going to face, and they faced evil. That is purest form. So tonight, like I said, it's a little unusual, but I think all three of these men deserve Officer of the Month. That was my choice. If you think it's silly, I'll take the blame for it. But at this time, I'd like to present these men, what they do, what they did that night. These are Pearl's Officers of the Month. Your Officer of the Month flag over here. Let's see. Ready? Carter?
You want to do this?
These are your Officers of the Month, and I'm proud to stand here before them and tell you that. I'll ask that they stay up here. We have another group we'd like to present at this time. Stand by. The next two individuals I'm going to ask to step up here are our communications. The day this event happened, nothing happens with our police department or with your city for public safety without going through our communications. We can't do our job if they can't do theirs. And what you have to imagine are these two ladies, and I call them ladies because they have to conduct themselves as such when they talk to you on the phone. They get pretty riled at times, I will give you that, but they do a fine job. These men could not have got there in the timely fashion they did. They could not have been able to help anyone if it weren't for these two ladies. And what you have to understand, and I'll ask you to put yourself in their place, what they're hearing on the phone from the victim. They kept their composure, they did their job, and they got help there. So at this time, I would ask that Ms. Heather Vaughn step forward. And Ms. Taylor Ambrose. Mr. Taylor Ambrose. And please understand, none of us, fire or police, could do our jobs if it weren't for what these two people represent. So if y'all would, please give them. All right. Y'all shoot down. I'm asking everybody to stay up here, please. Lieutenant Walker, Sergeant Lee, if you will, rest of the men come up. You're gonna have to bear with me, I'm going on soapbox for a minute. You know, I always was told if you gotta write it down, it don't come from you. These are the rest of the men that responded to the scene. What you have to remember, when communications officers put the call out, Lieutenant heard it. Pat and I have talked at length. He gave an order that day that he's never had to give before, and that was everybody go. That ain't a good order to give. It's hard, because that's kind of military. When you say you got a broken area, that's what a broken area is. Everybody's got to go, and that's what Pat did that day. I need two more gentlemen to step up here, because I know he's hiding. Reuben, get out of here. Sean, get out of here. Sean was the investigator on call that day, and he was tasked with dealing with it. The other gentleman was Detective Reuben Miles. He was at home on his day off, and he heard it go over the radio. And that's hard, you know. I'm not upset. I'm proud. I really am. You don't have to forgive me. Reuben Miles, come get your sticker. Sergeant Chase Hill. Lieutenant Walker. John. Josh. These men met evil that day, and they ended it that day. You can be proud of these men. They represent what you want them to be. In these troublesome times, like I said, they don't get to pick race, creed, or color. They just have to go, and they deal with what they're handed. They did a fine job. And I'd also like to commend them. This past weekend, Simpson County lost an officer in line of duty, Saturday night. Lieutenant Walker and Officer McPherson, being familiar with Simpson County, they asked to go to help out. Not to look for the bad guy, but unfortunately with us, when something bad happens, we don't get to close shop. Keeps going on. So these men asked to go help answer calls. So they went down to Simpson County after they done worked a 12-hour day here for y'all, and they went and answered calls in Simpson County to 2 in the morning. They put in a 19-hour day and never asked for anything. The rest of the gentlemen on the shift, when the shift ended at 6, they met with Sergeant Elam, and they went, and they answered calls for Simpson County at a time of need. Y'all be proud of these men. And I'll say this for the spouses, husbands and the wives. The most, especially with the officers, the most relieving sound a husband or wife can hear when their husband or wife is a police officer is Velcro. And I know that sounds silly, but any spouse or anybody related to an officer knows what Velcro is. That's them taking their vest off. They made it home. So give them your respect and give them your appreciation because they deserve it. And sure y'all want to see it.
Trying to move this back a little bit so we get everybody in for pictures, Chief. What'd you say, Kathy? Yeah. That's fine. We'll get this out of here.
This is all their fault right here. What she mentioned did sometime tonight. She deals with all this service.
All right, y'all. Just want you to have just want you to know where. Yeah, Josh. Mayor.
Come up and stand behind them all.
Oh, she's smile. All right.
Y'all guys real quick, they want to do just officers in the groups if y'all's kind of on fire.
him get your cookie cake.
That's his.
Y'all just watch that. All right, here we go. Here we go. Everybody smile.
Thank y'all guys. Thank y'all. Appreciate everything y'all do. Everything.
You too, that's it.
You already said all but you.
Just want to make sure that I read this to the public. As far as the sponsors are concerned tonight for these awards, Pearl Chamber of Commerce actually provided this presentation along with a $50 Bass Pro Shops gift card, a Cracker Barrel gift card, also a meal for two at Cracker Barrel. Each officer also received a Max Tobacco Shop donated $25 gift card. Jose's Mexican Restaurant donated $25. Crooked Letter Kitchen donated a certificate for complimentary meal. The Pearl Municipal Federal Credit Union donated a $25 Visa gift card. McAllister's Deli donated a complimentary meal. Frisco Deli donated a $10 gift certificate. Rebel Hardware donated a stainless steel tumbler, and Great American Cookie donated a chocolate chip cookie cake. Now, I want to say something before. I know we made much of these men and women, but these men and women need to be made much of. People wear the blue and go out every day and put this badge on and protect our city. So we just wanted to make sure that we showed them the respect that they should receive. So I appreciate y'all acknowledging that tonight. Now we get started with the board meeting. Thank y'all for being here.
Approval of consent agenda items. All items under this heading will be considered to be approved with one motion and one vote. If further discussion is desired on any item, it will automatically be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered as a general business item.
Is there a motion to accept the consent
So
agenda?
moved. I'd like to remove 7 and 8.
7 and 8, all right. All right, well, 7 and 8 removed from the agenda. We'll move that to general business. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. This evening, we are going to move right into our public comment, and I believe the first gentleman that signed the public comment was Mr. Gary Clack. Yes, sir.
I don't know where the gentleman, Mr. McHenry, is coming from.
Can you come over here, sir?
I don't know where Mr. McHenry is coming from. But I
Twins
was on
Trail,
fishing
that's
the
where
other
I
day and
live.
turned off of my street. I couldn't even turn off. And that traffic from that stop sign has been a big aggravation ever since they opened up all that traffic onto our pig trail. That's all that little street is. He can't handle it. And 2 or 3 times, we've had to take our mother to the hospital, and we had to go the long route. But she's 92 years old. It is a terrible problem. I don't never know when it's gonna hit now during the summer, but when school starts, David, we ride together, and he says, I'm trying to get something done. It backs up, slams in my street, and that's a long way.
Where do you live, Mr. Clark?
I live on Huckleberry Lane, and it is absolutely terrible. It's absolutely aggravating, and it's just about enough to make somebody move and get the heck out of here. And a lot of times you'll turn and go the other way to spend money because you can't get to Pearl. Now Rankin went down there and put up a red light. They got a little sense over in that town, but if you don't fix that thing, that's showing just plain out dumbness. Absolute being stupid. And that's about all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Clack. Mr. Tim Briley.
I'm not a long-time Pearl person, just about 10 years. In fact,
I live off of St. Street with Luckett and Charles and the gang. Good place to live. I think we've come a long way in the last 4 years that I've witnessed this new board. Thank you. But when I first moved here, they had not opened up the first section of Flowwood bypass. And I said, oh man, I really wanted to do that because I can run over and see friends that I have that live in Laurel Road and over near the reservoir a lot quicker rather than going around and hitting lights and going, 4 or 5 streets when I could just dart over. Well, I regret that. The problem has steadily gotten worse over an 8-year period. And when they finish that development that they're putting in, I'm gonna tell you, it's probably gonna get triple or even quadruple the problem that's coming our way. Then they say, well, I started asking questions. I said, well, where's the planning in this? Why hasn't Pearl been doing their construction the same time as Flowwood? Never got an answer. And now we got another section, they're supposed to put another section in, and we keep hearing these promises, or I keep hearing these promises, and the Luckett's predecessor actually came to my door and I said, I won't vote for you, because you did a bad job. You all were not prepared for this. And to go out there one time, Mr. McHenry.
I drive through it every day.
Really?
I live on Twins Trail.
Well, you live in a different world than I live in.
I guess so.
Because I don't even, and here's another thing you need to look at. How many people are going to Flowwood to shop to avoid all that problem? I'm one of them.
But you're saying that the 800 people that live, that's gonna be in that multi-million-dollar complex is gonna drive to Pearl to go to Walmart?
No. I
That's
don't know
what-
where they're
that's-
gonna
that's
go.
what
I
you
don't
was asking.
Personally, I don't know what draws people over there. And you know that the weekends are worse now than during the week. And here's the big problem. When I try to get out on that street, I feel like I'm in the Indianapolis 500 and I'm being trained how to get out of the way. There's 2 issues there. We might want to put the police out there more often to catch them speeders. Amen. Because I don't see them. I see them driving through my neighborhood, but I don't see them issuing traffic tickets on El Dorado. That's the problem. And 2, it seems like I have to wait longer and longer to get on my street. I think that's an issue. And it's pretty obvious to me that we're kind of a stepchild out there. I understand we're an annex, because the first question I had, why don't I have sewers? And they said, well, they said we're gonna get sewers. I said, well, we don't have sewers. And now we got a street problem, and you're not addressing it. And eventually that's gonna boil up on you.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Mr. Holmes, you can just stay where you are. We can provide, Frank, will you provide this microphone to him, please?
Folks, I moved off El Dorado Road out there in 1983. I was out there before y'all came out there. And we had all kind of promises what we was gonna get. We had pretty good law enforcement then through the county. Now, we got good law enforcement now, no doubt about it. And that was proven fact by what we've seen here just a little while ago. I think those guys are doing an outstanding job. I think we've got a bunch of good guys on the police force. But the traffic condition out there has got worse and worse and worse. Sometimes I can't hardly get out of my street. And I will not, at certain times of the day, will not come to Pearl. I will go to Flowwood, to the Walmart in Flowwood, and spend my money, rather than come to Pearl and spend my money, because I am not gonna sit 15, 20 minutes in traffic at that stop and go. It is terrible at times, and there are times you get through there fast. And you never know on weekends what it's gonna be. Don't go and think you're gonna get in a hurry to get out. We need something done. And it's only gonna get worse. The traffic getting worse every day. There's kids getting driver's licenses every day. The population's growing every day. People are moving in this area every day. And we're gonna have to do something out there. It's only gonna get worse. And I think it's due time that something's done. And try and fix this problem. When they add that new road in there, that's not gonna help us at all. It's only gonna congest us just that much more. I do not see that that's gonna help any at all. So it's not gonna turn the traffic, it's gonna draw the traffic. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Frank, will you grab that microphone? We also have Mr. Phil Combs here this evening to speak on public comment.
I'll take my mask off. We live at 590 Eldorado Road. We've lived there 16 years and we're proudly moved from Hinds County. So we can say we're from Hinds County. We live there and we also have a business and it's been there 15 years and has brought a lot of sales tax to the city, Mayor. Over the 16 years, the traffic has increased. We've had many customers over the time period talk about the problem of getting to our store. Some of you have been in our store asking for our vote, and you got it. And you said you supported improving that intersection. Now you say you don't. I think you need to think about it when you're asking for votes. This is a real public safety issue. And I think you ought to think about that. We fully support improving that intersection.
Thank you, Mr. Combs. We'll just speak to it for a minute before we go to the general business item. From our standpoint and what we go off of what engineers have told us, a 40% decrease is supposed to occur at that intersection when East Metro is built. Now, the update on that is Rick Ferguson is the engineering manager for that particular project, and he said that it's bidded in September. I go to these meetings. I'm on the East Metro Corridor Commission. It's being bid out this fall. They'll start the milling and grubbing this fall to begin the road. The project's 271 days. That doesn't provide immediate relief, but from the standpoint of my standpoint, what I'm trying to state here is you have a road that's coming in that's supposed to decrease traffic 40% according to our transportation engineers. It's tough for the city to say, go out there and spend $500,000 on turn lanes at that intersection when you're supposed to have a 40% reduction at that intersection. When that doesn't cost the city anything, it's state bond money that was given to us by the state legislature. Now, I would prefer to pave more streets with what money's left over in the street repair line item. I'm not against actually having a detailed engineering cost opinion put together for the city to move forward. And from my standpoint also, I think it's a good project. I think it's not priority over paving streets throughout the city, especially when you have an $11 million road that's coming through. Some roads are being actually paved in District 1 in y'all's area. We have a good amount of roads that David turned in on our road bond projects. So as far as prioritizing tax dollars and this road coming through in the future, I think it's something that we need to place on hold but work towards. I don't think it's something that we can and not not work towards. I think that's something that we want on the agenda. But if you have this road coming through, I think it's important to acknowledge the facts that's been given to that and spend tax dollars wisely. Yes, sir.
Did these same engineers predict that this problem was gonna develop down that road and that intersection?
And to say again?
Well, the problem that has been created, did they predict that that was gonna happen?
The biggest problem that you have over there is your west to east traffic. Traffic counts, a lot of people are going to Brandon. That road's gonna come to the South Connector Road where it is now, come across, tie into Hollow Lane, and then go into Cross Gates Boulevard. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, we have a state bond bill. We already have $10.2 million in the escrow account for East Metro. We're receiving another $4 million, most likely, in the state bond bill to take that all the way to Cross Gates Boulevard. That road's gonna be a 4-lane road, just like the one you see going into Flowood. It's gonna have sidewalks. It's not gonna be a 2-lane, it's gonna be a 4-lane. It's gonna take let me say this. People were wrong, but we do take what I say objective facts from engineers to try to make a decision. And I think tonight, there will probably be a motion on the floor for a design to actually provide us with a better actual cost of those turning lanes. Nobody's trying to put people off, but I'm trying to spend tax dollars in the right way when you have this road coming through. Nothing against any type of citizen in this room, but I am tasked with making sure I spend tax money wisely. And I don't think it would be spending wisely until we get more of a feasibility study for the turning lanes and also let that road go through. Yes, sir.
I was a policeman for 24 years. Jerry Barrett is in here. We got a guy named White that worked traffic at that intersection for 20 years, but it couldn't be fixed.
Say that again?
The police gonna cost $500 million. At least put a policeman down there so we can get out of the place.
We tried putting that policeman. Lucky called me. He told me, tell him to get him out of there. He was causing problems. He was actually clogging it up. Every board member up here remembers that. Mike Bounds, he remembers.
Hey, we're not gonna do anything to the road. Leave the policemen where they are. There are things to do, because if we slow it down, I mean, granted, I'm with them now. I live on Longwood Place now. You know, there's times when you go through there. I mean, I know what you're trying to do, Mayor. I understand that. You know, we want everything to be perfect. And I hear the engineering number, of $500,000 for those turn lanes. That's got to be Ole Miss engineers. It's got to be.
No. One of them's a Mississippi State engineer, and one of them's an Ole Miss engineer.
He's been drinking too much Kool-Aid.
Hey, just for your knowledge, the Mississippi State engineer was higher than the Ole Miss engineer, Mike, on that opinion of cost.
Well, is that purchasing land too?
No.
That's just to put the roads in?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money for, and I mean, I guess that's only on, that would be three turning lanes. I guess one lane, you just about, you don't have room, so I guess
You're gonna have to buy that right away into that gas station parking lot.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's the design right now that I was working with Benchmark, there is not a turn lane coming up El Dorado Road there at the service station. It's 3 turn lanes.
Yeah.
And we can get by now, we could get by with 2 turn lanes. We can cut this money, all of this was an estimate. But we can tweak this and everything, but it got put on hold, and I'm trying to get it started back up. But
It was originally placed on hold because of us monitoring revenues because of COVID.
Right.
You know, a budget's only good as your revenues. And so you gotta make sure it's there. Now, Pearl's done well, but, I mean, through the crisis.
Now, what about the road, when the East Parkway goes across, how are we gonna handle, I mean, is it gonna be stop El Dorado?
Yes.
So that traffic can go through and there'll just be a stop sign, east to west?
You'll have channelization there too. You'll have channelization on which way to go. You'll have some more direction. It will be a stop sign there.
Stop
Currently.
But not on East Parkway?
It will be, once it crosses El Dorado, yes. But here's the thing, and I told Mr. Luckett this, and I'm not saying that it's gonna happen. But I also have requested through our engineering, I said, look, you know, we need a bridge really across that to make it flow correctly, to give us.
Now we're talking a couple of million.
Well, now you're talking, I know that, but we're being reasonable here. We're talking it out right now, and you know that it's gonna flow a lot faster if we did that.
It'd be nice, but I mean, if we're balking on the turning lanes, we're really trying to get big on the bridge.
Well, here's the thing though, Mike, the East Metro corridor is money that's been set aside from the legislature from BP funds. Pearl don't have a dime in that road. Now, Flowood does have some skin in the game. They have some, and the county has $4 million in East Metro. But Pearl doesn't have any money in East Metro itself. On some of the tear downs and also some of the eminent domain processes, we do have it gaining right away, but that's not an exorbitant amount. So you're taking $11 million. This road is going to be bid out this year, September. It's going to happen. And let me hold up. The only reason it didn't happen beforehand was the fact that on that board, and I'm not going to say any names, on that board you have to have a unanimous vote, right? You can't have a majority vote. One of the members didn't want the segment to start in Pearl. So guess what? We went months without getting a unanimous vote in order to move forward. So we had to work through it. But now we've worked through that, and you know, sometimes on boards you have complicated process. People have different opinions, just like tonight. So that's what slowed that process down. The money's there. We actually went to, well, he's the governor now, but Lieutenant Governor Reeves provided an additional $8 million for that road to be completed about a year and a half ago. So we're ticking right now. It's bond money. It has to be spent in 36 months from the time it's given. That's right. So you know, what I'm saying is, you know what's gonna happen. Now, Luckett and I also talked about this. There's potential development that's gonna happen on Old Brandon Road with the city selling 40 acres, and there's another 18 acres there. I think at some point there's gonna be some houses. So I see where y'all are talking about future planning. You gotta plan for that. We're gonna have more traffic coming through there. And once East Metro is actually developed and constructed, you have 88 more acres that are going to be there to develop. So yeah, there is a lot of going on. I'm just saying that placing the project on hold right now is not due to the fact that I don't want to do it. It's just there's more priority on paving streets out right now with $500,000 and with an $11 million road that is going to come through, potentially provide big relief. So. Yes, sir.
Can people get down the street? You gonna pay?
Sir?
Can they get down the street? You gonna pay?
Well, I can take you over here, Mr. Clegg, and show you some that we've done. I think you'll be able to get down there with your truck.
That's the problem we got. We can't get down there.
Well.
I mean.
Wait, you should. Hey, how long you and Luckett been friends?
Pretty good while.
He didn't put your road in.
He's talking about getting out of his road. He ain't talking about. He said get down. He ain't talking about.
He said down.
I can't get to I-20.
He's talking about getting out of his road.
Gentlemen, we're not turning the blind eye to this. That's not what we're doing here. I just want to reassure everybody. Is there someone here? I mean, there's been other people that's talked about this, and we're trying to be as fair as we can. Someone here that would like to speak about this?
I'd like to say something. I live off Eldorado Road, and I came through there just a few moments ago to come to the board meeting. And typically, when I come into Pearl, I will go East Metro this direction. But I wanted to see what it was like. And when I got there, there was probably about 10 cars in front of me. Okay? And of the 10 cars that were in front of me, my car being the 11th, one made a right-hand turn. That's me.
Let me ask you this question, and for everybody in the room. And I know that differentiates from time to time. Does that 10 cars right then justify $500,000 and not paving more streets in the city?
Not knowing that another road's coming through.
Not when I know the other roads will probably provide additional relief.
Well, but then you can't, and what you're saying now hold on, let's, you're gonna paint the picture there, because you had 10 going straight. If you had the ones that's gonna veer, most of them do anyway now, I'll just go ahead and tell you, if somebody's a little bit over left, they go ahead and go, I go ahead and go, but I'm saying that now, Harris, don't give me a ticket, 'cause, you know,
stop too, but if I got two right there and I see they're going this way and they've got all three lanes stopped, then I go right. But if you veer off, that's the reason in all your red lights you have turn lanes. Because if you have to go through the turn lane, you're slowing the whole process down. So those 10 going straight is gonna go through way faster if you have turn lanes now. So, I mean, it ain't gonna be 100%, but you can't, I did the same thing. I must have been close to you. It was about 15. Most of the time I have to go to work, I don't have problems. I can stop. It is certain times, Mayor, that it is bad. I just question, I guess $500,000 still seems, man, that seems way out there if we're just doing 3 turning lanes. But I think if you're gonna put a 2-way stop when that East Metro comes through there, and then Jay Bishop gets his subdivision done back there, we hope it's Pearl people, because it's in the city of Pearl. And they try to come there, I just think that East Metro is not gonna do as much as we think it is. But if it's $500,000, that's a lot of money for 3 turn lanes.
Mike, that was a opinion of probable cost. There's been no detailed engineering done on this to get hard figures. So it's just an estimate.
Okay.
Well, we have some documentation up here. There's not to the tune of $50,000 worth of engineering, but you have Pickering said that a roundabout there would cost $563,000, and then Benchmark came back with the turning lane project, and their opinion of probable cost was $571,000. Now, in my experience, in 3 years, now we could do some things to tweak it like we'll talk about in the future, but my experience, projects usually come in higher. Not all the time, but they usually come in higher. So it would be something that we'd sit down with engineers, and I think that motion is going to be ready to be made tonight and second and approved by the board for the detailed engineering aspect.
Did y'all not do a study on the red light compared to the turnaround, and the turnaround is cheaper than putting up a red light?
Now, the turnaround was, well, according to the figures that we received from Pickering on the roundabout, it was $563,000 for a roundabout.
That was one of them.
The other one, there's another one here that's less right-of-way taken at $433,000.
I was gonna say, something's gotta be bad wrong there, just in the aspect. Turn around 563 and 3 turning lanes 5.
Well,
it's involved.
But we're talking about right-of-way purchasing.
Do what?
It's 2 different engineering
Yeah.
firms too.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, a turnabout is major. I mean, you gotta have more land, and y'all gonna have to blow that out, and then just trying to do that when everybody's still gonna try to get through. I mean, that's $100,000.
Well, I can tell you the design that I worked with for the city of Pearl, they are very nice turn lanes.
Yeah.
They veer into traffic. You don't just pull up there and stop. But that's why I said we can tweak what I thought the city would want, what District 1 would want, and the people traveling the road that lives all over Pearl would want. But I designed nice turn lanes that would hold 6 cars when you pull off, and you just veer like on Old Brandon Road in the morning when people are going to school and it's backed up 20, 30 cars to Mr. Clack's Road and he can't get out and go fishing. I had it veering in there, but we can tweak all of that. But it was just an estimate. It's not, the board has not seen a plan. Tonight is the first night I've seen anything on these roundabouts. I didn't know, I talked to them about roundabouts, but this is the first time I've seen anything, and I believe the board that has seen anything on the price of a roundabout.
Turn lanes or roundabout?
This roundabout from Pickering.
Have we done this anywhere else where we put turn lanes in? Do we have any hard data that we've done, something like this?
Benchmark does have some drive count studies. There's a lot of people that come through there sporadically through the day. So there's no doubt about that. But their findings are most of their traffic is west to east going to Brandon. That's why they think the 40%.
I had the same scenario when I came through, and you might have been in front of me maybe. But I went that way, and typically when I go to work, I go by the booth because everybody's asleep. It was about that, and most of them did go straight. I think I maybe had maybe 3 out of 10 or something like that.
And look, I don't want to be argumentative, but I want to say this to Alderman Luckett. When we were in budget meetings last year, he was not convinced that East Metro would ever come through because it hadn't come through, and people that live out there would probably think it's never coming through. And I told him, it's coming, man, the money's there, the money's there. So there was additional funds placed in the street repair budget to the tune of $500,000. Well, some of that money, well, all of that money is actually operational money for potholes and things of that nature daily. So this was not a capital outlay project that was actually budgeted. So to go spend it, and then we have $400,000 left in that, we would be exceeding our budget line item. And I don't think that's prudent to do that currently. So I just want to make sure that everything's out here. I mean, and everybody understands David's